All right, bet.
All right.
Um, yeah, my name
But,
is Edmund.
yeah.
Okay. My name is Edmund Bediako. I go to Vanguard High School, and I am in 12th grade. Today, our topic that we will be talking about is steroid use in general. Either it could be gym culture or competitive on the competitive scene. I'm here with
My
Uh,
name is Devontae Woods, and I go to Vanguard High School, and I'm 18 years old.
my name is Johnny Saula. I go to Vanguard High School.
Okay, I got
okay.
introductions now. Emma, you want to start it?
Yep. We'd like to start first. We'd like to start by recapping what we spoke about last time.
Hmm.
So last time we basically spoke about the general gist of it, why people want to take steroids, how it affects the gym culture, and I just want to go back to one of the main points that we talked about, which was of course being
How like no, it was like how it impacted like the youth basically. I mean,
Yeah, and we
yeah, I
basically
think
yes,
I think
yes,
we talked about that.
we also
How it
the
impacted
main
the
basically
that was
youth.
one of the main topics. How steroids are becoming more accessible to the youth,
uh-huh.
and it's also affecting mental health, and also in a way everyone sees it as a shortcut to their dream body. Everyone's looking up to people who who take steroids without their knowledge, thinking that they can get that physique naturally. So they get like a body dysmorphia almost because they're idolizing the wrong people.
Hmm.
Johnny, you want to say something?
And yeah, we just on last episode, I guess our first episode, we just debunked um all the stakeholders that had to do with the usage of steroids and trend. We talked about like the creators and the people who are affected by it, the buyers, the promoters, and the companies. So now I
Yeah,
think we should just get more into that and more specifically point out the main causes and the main people who like have an impact on everything to do with um
Mhm.
and and yeah,
anabolic,
steroids,
Yeah.
anabolic
anabolic steroids.
steroids.
Yeah.
Yes, that.
If I could chime in here, I want to talk about like influencers. I feel like they're the real stakeholders in all of this because they have millions of views and people that follow them, right? And they're
Yeah.
constantly. I mean, for example, like we mentioned, Sam Sulek, he
Uh huh.
openly says he used steroids, and there's a lot of people that look up to him that go to the gym, right? And they have body dysmorphia or they're not happy with their body, so they
Mhm.
see Sam Sulek like physique and kind of look up to it and think that's obtained naturally, but in all reality, it's not. So they feel the need to be like him and try to get like him. They might take steroids, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. All
Okay.
this, the media and everything, I feel like the real stakeholder and it plays a big role in like in the steroid community.
Uh,
And yeah,
Hmm.
I mean,
okay,
So
but
you,
like
so you
I
guys
have
think?
a question for you though. My bad. But like,
Mhm.
yeah.
what do you mean by
You're
that
good.
though? Like, what do you mean by that, Devontae? Like, when you say stakeholders, like, get more in depth to that. Like, I want you to elaborate and tell me where do they take place in that category. Like, there's four different types of stakeholders. The ones with low power, high interest. You know, high power, high
Yeah,
interest. Like, what do you think? For example, like you said, the influencers, are they
influences.
like
Yeah.
in here? Are they supporters, doubters, individuals, or are they like the state? The state, yeah. If you know what I do, you understand what I'm talking about, or would you like me
Say it again.
to?
Yeah, elaborate more on that.
Okay, so for say like the individuals have low power and they have high interest, whereas in
Okay.
like in different in these four categories, the the state has high power and high interest, when as in but like the doubters have low power and low interest. The supporters have high power and low interest. So where do you think like
Okay.
they fall in this
I
category?
would say I would say like they have high power. Like I said, they have high power because you see people with millions of followers,
Mm-hmm.
and not all of them might not get a lot of views, but they're still touching down on people in the world that look up to them. So if they look
Yes.
up to them, they see their physique, they see anything they idolize, right?
Yeah.
Or
Hmm.
or they try to be like them, they're gonna try to copy them because
Yeah.
they're trying to obtain the same physique. But in all reality,
Hmm.
our bodies don't function the same way as everybody's bodies function. Everybody different, of course, right?
Yeah. So
So
Hmm.
we gotta follow our own path and try to like, like I said, obtain what we can obtain naturally because most realistically, most of these influencers that we see online take steroids, and it's
yeah,
a fact, yeah.
Hmm.
So
That's a fact.
to answer your question, yeah, I feel like they have high power because
okay.
they're filling these
Yes.
kids heads up with,
Thank you,
oh,
because I
you could be
just
big, you could be big naturally. In all reality, they're not natural. For me,
Hmm.
yeah.
they're spreading lies, yeah, basically,
I just wanted that to be cleared out to our listeners. That in this
yeah,
scenario, what stakeholder position they hold is the state because they have both high power and high interest. They benefit either
yeah,
or
Yeah.
in both categories. It's
yeah,
Yeah.
not like where, as in the individual, which is us, like the watchers or the viewers, we go
yeah,
based off that. We have no say really. If anything were to happen to us based on like those substances, like what can we do about it? Nothing really, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we chose to do that. We were influenced by it, and we don't gain anything from it ultimately. But like, what's it called? Like abnormal body gain weight and body mass,
yeah,
which
and
obvious. It's
absurd muscle
obvious.
mass,
Yes, exactly.
absurd muscle mass, yeah.
But
But
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So,
I mean, you wanted to comment?
yeah, Simon. So I
Yeah,
guess the question I have is, do you guys think the silence? Because obviously, I'd say if 80% of influencers, like Durante is implying, use steroids, 20% of them don't use steroids.
yeah.
Do you guys think the hush hush nature of steroids, like the way people are very like quiet about their use, is hurting the community, is hurting the gym or the sports community more, or is it benefiting us more,
I'm
the
gonna go first.
individuals?
Go first. I feel like these are more questions because we see their physique and we naturally just think, all right, they got that big, not naturally. They had to take steroids. It leaves kind of like unknown questions about that person. You get me? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, it leaves unknown. But yeah, as I said before, us as like people that go to the gym, we kind of look up to them, like I said before, and we see their body and we want to be like them. But as we see them, it's like we want to be like them, but like I said, our bodies work different, and it just leaves unknown questions about if they do take steroids or if they do not. No,
yeah.
Hmm.
Johnson.
I would like to add on to that, like for example, like how you say, Edmund, the hush community or whatever normalizes the usage of steroids or like denying the fact that you do use steroids. I feel like to the community it does have an impact. More so, I think they're more open about it too. Like people do talk about it a lot. Influencers who work out or influencers who are involved around that, like steroid bodybuilders or influencers like around that area. They do talk about it. For example, like a influencer I know called Will, he does talk about it. He's made videos about it, and he's asked many in the community like, "How do you see that? Like, what makes you want to use that?" And it's always their first response is always because of the media, because of the influencers, and they're as young as 19. They're young. There's still so much. There's still so much to accomplish for them. Them then rather than them thinking about that so like early in
Hmm.
stages of especially working out. But it is really
Hmm.
Yeah,
sad because some people understand that steroids are bad for you, yet they still want to take that risk just to feel better about themselves. And
Right.
influencers who use that don't even stop that. Like, in all reality, they don't because at the end of the day, it's a win-win for them. They don't lose anything.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah. Except like health wise.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but I want to get into like athletes. What do y'all think? Why do y'all think athletes like basketball players or baseball players take anabolic steroids?
Um, if I could chime in here, uh,
Yeah.
I think, uh, Johnny, you still here?
Yeah, I am. I am. I am.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay, sorry. Yeah, if I could chime in here, I think the obviousness of that, the obvious part of answering that question is just to stay competitive. As we age,
Yeah.
as we age, I think once we're past maybe like 25,
Liquor employs their most
that's when our
salary
bodies
workers.
naturally start taking I say maybe even 27 is when our bodies start taking a natural like nosedive. Slowly, slowly, slowly as we age, we get more
Yeah,
wrinkles, we get,
Hmm.
the gray hairs. And obviously you're gonna feel your body fall behind it. Sports is that's an ever changing thing. The year that you could be top of your game for a good 10 years. Suddenly now you're at your top 50 in the league and not even talking about basketball, anything else. And now a new guy's coming in and he's took your spot. He's 21, young, getting up there, super athletic, and you're reminiscing on those days when you used to have that same thing. That's why I feel like a lot of players aging would feel inclined to use or falling behind their competitors would feel inclined to use steroids. I feel like it comes from a place of true competitiveness and a need to win, but then it dips into a cheating aspect of like do I really need to do this to get there? But some people feel this is an absolute necessity. They feel like their body has reached their peak. There's nowhere else to go. So this is what I have to do to get up there, to stay up there. And of course you're hush
yeah.
hush because it's a very clear taboo about it. That's it. You're cheating. That's what it
Hmm.
is.
But yeah, once they're on steroids, you think it's a way they could get off?
Yeah, I think it depends on what the steroids have been doing for them. Because of course there has
Yeah,
been athletes who've taken steroids and there hasn't been a very like noticeable increase in their game performance. But if there is a noticeable increase in their game performance, like how a lot of people usually say steroids affects you is you start taking it. Your mood out the gym is amazing. You feel better, you feel stronger, you feel like you're better looking, you feel more like, shredded, more like in tone, more like your body's how it's supposed to be, how everyone would want their body to be. And then once
yeah,
you get off of it, you eat almost immediately, almost like a week after, as soon as you get off of it, or a month after, your body starts feeling smaller again. You start feeling weaker again. You start feeling like, oh, what's this fat I'm gaining back, or what's
yeah,
going on? I feel skinny again. You know. So
Hmm.
I think as long as you're in the right mental mindset to drop the steroids, you can drop it. But it becomes an addiction, like actual literal drugs, and that's what makes it so dangerous, and that's what makes being very hush hush about it very dangerous. I think it's up to the media to to be honest with his fans and be honest about who's using the drugs and who's not, who to who can we really look up to and who we can't. Because you don't want to look
yeah,
up to and chase a physique that you don't even know that you're never gonna reach, you're never gonna get,
yeah.
and
Obtained.
that's the truth.
Yeah. John, they had a question for you too. We see doctors prescribe anabolic steroids to athletes, right? Do you think
Hmm.
it's the doctor's fault or like the athlete's fault?
I think both do come in play. And either or, there's nobody to blame but the the supplier. A doctor
Yeah,
isn't a doctor. The doctor's job is just to inform you and to um, apply you with the product that you desire. Obviously, as your caretaker, and if you were to come to them about it and you would agree, obviously the doctor will tell you the precautions and they will let you know what are the side effects or what can be like what's the dangers to taking a steroid, but ultimately you're making that decision. You're choosing to go along with it and ahead, not just for a little bit or not just
Hmm.
to feel better for yourself, but just in general. And obviously, like you say, like I mean, like Edmund said, when you get on the steroid, like you don't want to stop. Like you don't ever see success within yourself. It's like worse than body dysmorphia. You see it every day. Like
yeah,
you don't feel better. You don't feel good, even though you're so huge and like your body can be veiny and you can be super tight, super tight physically, and
Yeah.
you would still like see imperfection and you would want to keep going, which is why it just like it gives yourself mentally um it gives your mentality into thinking that
Hmm.
you're never gonna be enough, I guess, and to keep
yeah,
going, to not stop, to not drop that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
wanna
like
go. You gonna say something? Go ahead.
oh, okay. I was gonna answer your question, Devontae, about if this is the doctor or the player's fault. I feel like it falls onto the player because at the end of the day, you're the one that seeked it out, and at
Agree,
the end
agree.
of the day, any doctor that gives it to you is just doing their job at the end of the
Yeah.
day. If you get it over the counter, just doing their job at the end of the day. There's
Yeah.
even some doctors now though they think that like they don't really see steroids as enhancements. They just see it as the same way you would see testosterone, necessary for your body to function. And that's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing about it. Just like how women take HRT for hormonal optimization and stuff like that, they see steroids and or taking testosterone as the same thing. Just like how those doctors back in 1950 and those biologists who made testosterone viewed it back then as just something to help you, they view it the same way. But there's also doctors out there too, like Dr. Thomas O'Connor. He's an
Hmm.
Yeah.
antibiotic doctor who helps. He doesn't supply steroids, but he helps athletes and other people with steroid related health issues. He feels what I've seen from his interview. He feels these clinics are like new drug dealers. They just care about the money in the industry. They'll prescribe you however much you want without any care for long term damage. When the damage happens. That's it. He says
Yeah.
he wants young athletes to understand that long term use of PEDs or steroids will lead to heart issues, infertility. Like you can't have any, you're not gonna be able to have kids, or you're gonna have a hard time having kids, or literally just your hormones shut down. That's it. Your hormones shut down. Your body doesn't know how to function. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I want to
those.
touch down. Go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, those are also that is also like something that's very dangerous, which a lot of people don't
Yeah.
understand. That's why in competitions or anything like that in general, like the usage of steroids is banned completely, and like any enhanced performance is not allowed, especially if you want to go professional. But because it's dangerous to your body, not just to yourself mentally, but like inside, like physically, it will fuck you up. Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's a
it will
we
it
come on.
will mess you
We
up.
everybody understand. Everybody understand. Come on. Yeah. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
it
I
will
want
mess you up though,
to mess
and
you up.
it will leave you with a lot of
He said freaking. He said freaking.
a lot of negative side effects, like the not being able to have kids and anger issues, like no control over yourself whatsoever. You could be drained most of the time. Like I've seen and I've heard that like people don't sleep because of steroids, because of
Yeah.
all that dopamine, and it just messes with you. My bad.
Yeah. I want to touch down on like the wrestling community, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a doctor named Walter that was sentenced for 5 years in federal prison for his role in the steroid distribution conspiracy. He basically was given wrestlers like Hulk Hogan and what's his name, Goldberg steroids so they could perform better in the ring. So my question for y'all is like, what do y'all think about wrestlers taking steroids? Like, how you think they perform in the ring off of steroids? If you get what I'm saying.
Um,
Um, I think their entertainment. Their entertainment. I mean, that's their entertainment. Their fields are pure entertainment. I feel
Yeah.
like that's a very common steroids in their field is a very common thing. I feel like since it's I feel like in that type of field it's okay because you're not it's
Yeah.
not an actual like sport where you're actively competing. I feel like most
that
of
is true.
us
Yeah.
we're grown now. We understand wrestling is scripted, right?
Yeah.
So we know that, and sometimes these wrestlers you can't just they're a character, they're a brand now. Like John Cena, he's a
Mhm.
character, he's a brand now. He's openly admitted to using steroids before.
He used steroids?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
He
yeah,
used
he
steroids?
did, he did.
yeah.
Yeah,
John
he did,
Cena
he
used
did.
steroids?
John Cena is an
Mhm,
individual when it comes to
Oh
talking
my
about
god.
like the stakeholders. He knows what's at risk,
mhm,
and
I just learned something else.
he knows how it impacts him in a way where he says he knows that like it can benefit him in the long run
Yeah.
because
mhm,
like you say like WrestleMania is all about show. And just
It
like
just hurt my heart
for
with that.
example, like John Cena he's an actor too, and he uses that in acting too, like to show off his physique,
yeah,
to make himself look great by that usage. And
mhm,
there's been many proof of WrestleMania like failed tests and people failing, like a lot of the actors failing and not passing, and
Yeah.
it's honestly been normalized, which I don't get because it is a health risk. Like a lot of the wrestlers that you look at
mhm,
now who have taken steroids like look way older than they're supposed to, and they look drained
yeah,
and they don't look right.
yeah,
You know, only
yeah.
those who do
But
take care of themselves.
it's
Sorry.
literally because they're there. They're it's alright. It's literally because they're a brand. The same way you see an NBA team
Yeah.
like the Los Angeles Lakers or like the New York Mets or whatever. Like wrestlers
Yeah,
are literally like a brand in themselves. John Cena, The Undertaker. Once you hear those names, you're not associating with like real living humans. It's associating with a brand. John Cena merch, Undertaker merch. So literally, these people you can't just like. It's not like a regular franchise where you're just like dumping all the old players, putting in new players. Boom, we have the whole roster filled up again. It's literally something where you can't dump this old like wrestler and then have a new one fill in. Once that wrestler is gone, that whole career they have, that career that they love, is that's it. It's done. They're not getting no more money than that. That's it. So I get why they take it for entertainment reasons, especially John Cena. He takes it purely to look good on the screen, purely to so also be able to stay up with the demands of WWE wrestling when he was doing that, and because he acts in a lot of the superhero films too. The same thing with The Rock. He acts in a lot of superhero films. He
yeah.
hasn't openly said if he's taking it or not, but
Nah, he's
there has been
taking
a
it.
lot
We
of
see his.
speculation. Yeah,
He's
there has been a
taking
lot of
it.
speculation that he's taking it, and has at
You
his
can see
age
his physique.
is
Yeah.
very plausible.
Nah, yeah. If I could say something here, I wanted to talk about NFL players now, right? There's a doctor named Dr. James that have stated and admitted to giving a former NFL player steroid use, and later down the line, once he was like off of it, he gained like brain cancer. So this just shows like the long lasting effects steroids can have on your body, you know? So the question I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
y'all is like, do you think like it's worth it to take steroids in like the sports field, like the NFL and basketball?
Mm,
You think it's
Uh,
worth it?
I don't.
yeah, Jordan, you can answer that.
I don't think it's worth it. Um, like especially for wait, you said for the NBA, right?
It don't matter for the NBA, any sports,
Just
NBA,
any sports in general.
baseball, and yeah, any sport in
Oh, I
general.
mean,
Yeah,
on it. Well, if you're talking about just in general, my bad. I thought you said NBA, but if you're talking about in general, then yeah,
yeah,
I could see why there would be some benefits to it. For example, like in the field of like football or soccer or American football or
yeah,
whatever, um, people can use that strength, the strength from the drug usage, as an advantage, especially on the field. And like, I don't really know how to answer your question in depth, if I'm being honest,
yeah,
because there's more to say. There's a lot to say when it comes to talking about like sports
yeah.
and the usage of that. But
Nah, I get
I
what you're
don't
saying. You're
think it's
saying the
worth it.
people on steroids, got an advantage over the people without steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it. Evan,
Okay. How
Evan,
about since we're on the topic of sports, this is a perfect time to go into the people in certain sports fields who've taken it and who what they had to say about it.
yeah,
So the first person I want to touch on is Lance Armstrong. He's not very known in the U.S. space, but he's known in the international space because he's a cyclist. He basically bicycle like rides a bicycle and races for a living.
yeah,
And he took steroids and won some titles for France. In a huge like French race, all that cool with many countries in it. Yeah, basically, what he said about it when he admitted to taking steroids was he didn't invent the culture and he didn't try and stop the culture either. He denied the allegations for years, of course, and it was like he did confess to it on the Oprah show, and the consequences is what I want to touch on. After he confessed to it on Oprah's show, um, he pretty much said he felt pressured into this culture of taking steroids and all that because he was falling behind his competitors. He felt it was justified and it was necessary to win because at the end of the day, it was just evening. He felt old. It was evening the edge. It wasn't putting him over his competitors. He just felt like it was evening the edge. Like I can catch up to them. I can catch up to these younger guys now.
Hmm.
yeah,
After all that, he was of course revoked of all his the stuff he won throughout his career because no one could track when he started. So they took everything, all his accolades that he had, all that. They took everything, which of course would scare other athletes into either not taking it or being very hush hush about their use of it. His actual supplier, it was his team's doctor and his coach too.
Uh huh.
And they eventually, because of the taboo of it, they all eventually turned on him during the investigation. They all came out and said, "Yeah, he did it. It was all on him. He asked us. He forced us into giving it to him." And they basically all turned on him anyone that watches sports and tracks it knows once you get caught and once you're caught up in a scandal like that, your name is forever attached to it. So you have to do everything you can to disconnect your name from that scandal. And the coach and the doctors, although it's very slimy, they covered their back. That's all they were doing. So that's what happened, and that goes into the taboo of why a lot of people don't wanna. A lot of people either don't take steroids in sports, even though they want to get that edge back, or they
Hmm.
just take it and they're very hush hush about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. John, you want to say something or
Um,
go?
I wanted to. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, but I wanted to ask, like,
Ah,
what do you guys think about like the what do you guys think about the people who like completely go against the usage of steroids, like basically like activists or people who write blogs about how steroids are horrible for you and how you should stay away from it and how it should be banned in general, like it should be illegal. Like, what do you guys think about that when it comes to talking about that?
uh, I'll go. Say it one more time. My fault. Say it one more time.
Okay,
So I can understand better.
so basically, what stakeholder I'm trying to get into right now is the
Yeah.
doubters, like people who have the doubts, people who don't go for the fact that steroids are bad for you, people who write blogs, people who don't support it at all, who hate, basically, and
Right.
haters, basically, people who write blogs. Like, what do you think about that? Although they have low power, and
Yeah.
although they have low power and low interest in supporting this product and supporting like the usage, do you think that their voice is important? Do you think that they have a major impact in how a lot of people think now, or how a lot of the community, the gym communities, and a lot of the influencers talk about when it comes to talking about steroids? Like, do you think they're more
I get it.
careful about it?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna answer this first. I feel like why people that don't take steroids feel a way about people that take steroids because it's kind of unfair in a way, right? It's unfair, and a lot of people don't speak about it, but it's unfair, and they have certain advantages that people with steroids don't, like strength and
Hmm.
speed. And there's actually a hockey player that passed out on the hockey field, ice, whatever you play hockey in, right? He passed out and he tested positive for like a banned substance. I don't know the banned substance, but I'll probably get back to you on that. I don't know the banned substance, but yeah, but all of this occurred 2004 through like 2005, and after that, he kind of had like long lasting effects. He kind of had like heart problems, uh, like his kidneys was kind of messed up, and yeah, I feel like people that don't take steroids just it's not fair to them because they're trying their hardest, they're pursuing their career and taking the right path to get better at their craft. And there's people that just take steroids and just get good overnight, and all that hard work is thrown out the window. If that answers your question.
Okay, so yeah, you basically no shortcuts, and the fact that they're
Yeah,
at a disadvantage. Yeah, that
yeah,
would that would make sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
that makes,
I definitely, I agree. I agree with you guys, and I agree with Devon. Say another person I did want to touch upon who's very notorious. I'm pretty sure everyone knows him. Is
yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hmm.
yeah.
Um,
Everybody should know him.
he's everybody should know him. Very big in the '70s for boxing and bodybuilding culture. I was about to say boxing. Um, well, his thoughts on the steroid use pretty much was he has no regrets at all. He said at the time it was a new thing and it was completely legal at the time to use steroids in the '70s. And
Yeah,
of course because of the times that he used it, he did downplay the risk of it because I guess it didn't overly affect him. That's probably because he had someone probably probably wasn't a more a potent substance like it is today, how it can actually like damage you fully. It was probably something more akin to like testosterone or something that was gonna boost your hormones or something. But regardless, it hasn't damaged his hormones too much. Who? His stance pretty much was he just downplayed the risk.
Mhm.
He saw them just
Yeah.
as an integral part of actual competitive culture, and that's the interesting thing. He saw most sports now don't see it at all, like don't want it to take place at all in their field of sports. But in bodybuilding, he felt, oh yeah, this is integral. And even now, some bodybuilders still take gear or steroids. They still use it, and they still feel like, oh yeah, this is an integral part of for me to compete. I can't get to this type of physique without me. That's it kind of connects back to these days, like Sam Sula too, who recently did just go into a bodybuilding competition.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's actually a famous sprinter called Usain Bolt. Everybody should know him too, right? Everybody
Yes,
should know him,
yes.
right?
I
He's
remember
He
heavily
that.
like
talked about. Yeah.
he's spoken out about how like it ruins the integrity of the sport. So basically, how people that do track take
Mhm.
like if they take steroids, he's kind of saying like it ruins the sport basically, right?
Yeah.
So I'll have a question, but I lost my train of thought. But yeah, John, you go real quick. I fake lost my train of thought.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
Fake
I
lost
I
my
wanna
thoughts. Go real
I
quick.
wanna bring up the topic. I mean, I wanna bring up somebody else in
Oh,
the
sorry.
industry, like for example, Liver King. He has
Okay.
he's like somebody that has been like a part of the Hush community for a while until he got exposed eventually. But he would deny it a lot, like the use of a drug substance called PED. It's like a steroid. He would deny it while being accused and saying that he was only that way because of his lifestyle. You know, within the, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of him. Only the raw me and like everything has to be raw. And then he got
Yeah,
exposed after quite some time. After like you can just see, and especially in somebody like him by his body language, his body movement, you can just tell. And and you would be a fool to not see that he is on the use of steroids by the way he acts and the way he talks sometimes. As there has been clips, but he got exposed and he admitted to it. He admitted to using steroids and he there were it was exposed that he used over $10,000 in only 1 month for that drug usage. And that also falls into the topic where it's like where I stand by what I say when when like drugs and like the trend steroids is not good for you. It's unhealthy because can you imagine that like $10,000 a month just on steroids? Like that's crazy. That's a lot of
that's
money,
absurd.
and it's an addiction. That means that you'd have to use that consistently.
Every day.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's really crazy. I have to remember my question. Sorry. Um,
Hmm.
I was gonna say, do you think sprinters, people that run track, do you think steroids
Hmm.
affect them the same way as people that play basketball and football?
I think. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think like people who people who run track and use steroids. I don't know, honestly.
I feel like
I've never known somebody like. Do you know anybody that uses steroids in that
I
field?
don't nah, I don't know, but I feel like no, I feel like they use it for like
Hmm.
extra endurance, like stamina, basically, so they won't get tired. You know how they like they do competitions and then they gotta run
Hmm.
a lot. They gotta run a lot. I feel
Yeah.
like they kind of use it for extra stamina and extra endurance. You know,
Yeah. They. Yeah. I know what you mean.
I mean, you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think with sprinters is actually like very interesting because if you really think about it, they're taking those steroids and everything to win to beat their opponent by like 0.1 microseconds,
Yeah,
which is like which is like
absurd.
which is like
Crazy.
crazy. The difference literally that's the difference between them winning or losing, 0.1 microseconds. So
Like if
imagine
you
ruining your
lose,
body.
just to
Yeah,
lose.
imagine losing or like ruining your body for just to get a 0.1% lead, which is kind of like, that's kind of a metaphor for people who do take steroids. Like this is just a percentage of your life. You're really ruining the 30 what could have been like 70 or like 60, cut down to 30 now, years ahead
Yeah.
of you, over just looking good, feeling good, or just like just being good at your sport in the moment. Which is like it's not worth it. Um, I
Especially
do
when
want to
you.
say I do. Oh,
Sorry for
so go
cutting
ahead,
you
go ahead.
off. But especially
Mhm.
when you like when your tolerance for just anything in general is very low, and you still get into that, and you try to fall out of it. Once you try to fall out of it,
Mhm.
it's like if uh, even though you did quit and you stopped injecting yourself,
Yeah.
it's like you never left that state of mind, and that will always
It
mess with
becomes a
you in the
habit.
long run. It becomes, yeah. And
A
it's
habit, basically. Yeah.
that's what's scary too, because some people they drop it, and like years later, 20 years later, they still feel it. They still feel the SARMs, or the PEDs and all of that. It still affects them.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Believe it
a
or
lot
not,
of.
my
Go ahead.
fault, Emma. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's something short though. I was gonna say there's
Mhm.
actually like tennis players that actually take steroids too. Not gonna lie. I don't know what they take it for, but there
But what
was
is the
a
what is
player.
it
Tennis
though?
is a
Like what
tax,
advantage?
Yeah,
tennis
I
is a
like.
taxing
I don't
sport.
know the advantage. That's the problem. I don't know the advantage, but I can tell you this though. There's actually one that was banned for steroids,
Mm-hmm.
but no, they actually tested positive, and then they got banned for it, right? I
Wow.
think it's called the steroid. The specific steroid was tromethazine, something like that. I think it's called that tromethazine. It's like a heart medication.
Oh really?
Heart medication. Yeah, like heart medication. I don't know if that boosts your heart rate or does anything, but it definitely leaves like long lasting effects. No, yeah, it definitely led like long lasting effects to this person's heart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it just shows like how steroids could impact not just people that compete in bodybuilding shows, it can impact everybody that takes like everybody that does sports in general. But like I
Yeah.
just said, tennis, NFL, basketball, anybody that does any physical activity basically.
Just competitively,
Hmm.
yeah. The
Yeah,
usage,
just yeah.
the use is like kind of scary. Like that, it should be banned. I think competitively, just in general, not just in because in bodybuilding, it's banned. Like literally, there's no like loophole through it. But people who have like been exposed and like that use steroids in basketball or in football or American football or tennis, like, or even in track, like
Yeah.
in the Olympics, obviously, if you get exposed or you get caught, then you're done. But some people, they get barely anything, like they barely get in any trouble. And I feel like
Yeah.
that only to the
Yeah,
to the individual stakeholders, the people who watch, the people who are big fans of those who use that steroids. I feel like they see that as like a sign that it's okay to do that, and it's nothing too big
hmm
to worry about, which is why,
hmm
which falls into, that's like just a deeper hole of
That what you
it's
said.
very,
Mm-hmm.
just influencing
at the end of
the
the day,
mind, influencing the mind into
yeah.
the
You agree? And then mm-hmm.
stuff, that stuff.
Yo, but not Johnny. You talk about roid rage. You want to touch down on that topic again real quick?
What? Like the anger
Or like
issues, anger management?
yeah, basically anybody that takes steroids like roid rage. You said
Well,
in the
my
last
my
episode.
personal, yeah, for my personal, like, my personal experience, like when I work out, I've seen people like on it, like you can tell when somebody's on
You
steroids.
seen it? No
Yeah, like
way.
I've seen somebody like rage off of that, off of that
That's
stuff. Like
crazy.
I've seen him like drop the weight. He would slam the weight. He would get mad at himself, full headphones in, and he'd just be
Start hitting
screaming
his
in the
head.
gym. Like it's concerning. Like you'd think that the guy is mentally ill, and yet he's in the gym working, just injecting himself. Yeah, they had to kick him out. I remember it. It was funny, but it was sad to watch because it's like nobody's bothering you. You're in a mind of your own. It's like you're in a mental state where it's just you versus you, and that's
Yeah,
all that is doing to your body. It just angers you, especially when you can't pick up a
yeah,
weight or when you can't do something right. It's like it's like why even want that in your life? And just adding more pressure and more.
Exactly,
Yeah,
uh,
but
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's all I have to
but
say
yeah,
about that.
I was gonna say something like, do you think like mentally ill or broken people like take steroids for a reason? Cause I feel like people could like mentally ill, like broken people could take steroids just cause it gets them like stop thinking about their like life and like in general, like you feel me, like because some people that take steroids know the benefits. No, yeah, they know the benefits and they know the long lasting effects, but they,
So
how I'm gonna say, they
so would you say people like
they
that are supporters, or would you say they're like people who like fully support it? They don't care, like like if you
now they
say
don't
something to
care.
them, like it goes out the
Yeah,
other ear. Like they do not care about that because they will do whatever they have to do to prove you wrong. Like, what do
yeah.
you guys think about those type of people? Like, I don't think there is that in this when it comes to talking about this topic. I don't think anybody is fully supportive of it. Obviously, the influencers can give an image, for example, like Sam Sulek or Lex Little or
Mm-hmm.
like let me think,
Lex
like the
Little
Liver King,
is natural, right?
huh?
Lex Little is natural.
Yeah, but he's still an influencer in the community.
Oh yeah, okay, you're talking about that.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah, just in general,
Okay.
yeah. Like, do you
We want to
think?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the question? Just so I can hear one more time, because I forgot.
Ugh.
Yeah, Johnny.
What? What happened?
The question,
Yeah,
the question, Johnny,
what was
question.
the question? What was the question?
I didn't ask a question. That wasn't my question.
Repeat it.
That was
Oh,
Devontae's
you.
question.
No, no. I told him to answer real quick so I could like find my like my train of thought and stuff.
What?
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I have something to talk about anyway.
Oh.
Um, all right, cool. I just want to say what a lot of doctors and clinics anyway say about the use of steroids.
Hmm.
Some general notes that a lot of these doctors do say to athletes and bodybuilders, or even people just your average Joes like you and me taking steroids is pretty much like they're optimizing health. Every for some reason these clinics, their common justifications for these type of things is just either steroids. You is either, oh, they flex their knowledge, like you're not as well versed in medicine as we are. Steroids are safer than you guys think. They're not these like super harmful things you guys are talking about.
Hmm.
Um, it's better than going to a black market and just using it over the counter. Patients have a right to choose, or we're improving health. We're not helping. We're not condoning cheating. At the end of the day, I feel like all these things are just said because, like again, you said, Johnny, or like it was said multiple times. This is a business. It is an enterprise, and at the end of the day, that's one of the grimy things about America specifically, that they try and make everything a business. At the end of the day, whatever is getting them money, they will keep doing it, whether it's harming people or not. That's why I don't even feel you could trust a lot of these medical professionals
Hmm.
words, because they're gonna just do whatever is getting most money, the most more money in their pockets. It's why a lot of these brands that put out cancer causing foods and other things never get really like reprimanded, or like they never get, like, you know what I'm saying? They don't get like
Yeah.
shut down ever, because that's all America. One of the biggest money makers is the medical industry. That's the
Okay.
truth. Everyone always needs something medically. How something small, something big. And the more cancer is one of the biggest things literally ever. Like, people donate millions and millions and millions into cancer research every year, just in hopes of finding a cure.
Hmm.
So I just find it interesting that, yeah, like a lot of these medical professionals in these areas will try and profit off of your pain and a lot of these things, rather than actually trying to help you. It's the same reason that, they actually they don't mind people getting cancer from these little things. So they're like, oh, that's more money. That's more money. That's like thousands and thousands spent into just cancer treatment.
Sorry to cut you off, but you can get cancer because of steroids.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to.
You can,
Like,
Johnny.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, you probably
crazy.
can. You can get a lot of stuff. I'm
Yeah,
not.
you
I'm
can
not
get a lot
exactly
of stuff.
sure on that, but I'm not exactly sure on that. All I'm saying though is literally they don't care. They don't care about what happens to the people, the doctors who give out these steroids under quote unquote medical use. There have been cases of people still, like, years later, still getting heart diseases, still getting infertility, and
Uh-huh.
now the joke is on you.
Yeah,
Now
you
you
could
have to.
go.
The doctor's like, The doctor's like, I can't do nothing to help you with that. You gotta look for someone else. Now the joke is on you. You're spending thousands, more than that 10,000 a month that Johnny mentioned. You're trying to get help, trying to get more research done into what's wrong with your body, just because you decide to take some PEDs or some steroids to look good, like literally for a blip of your life, like literally what could have been 5 years of your life, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things.
But yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I want to
I
add
feel
on
like
to that, like
you
to
want to
your
add on?
question,
Yeah.
Devontae. Like, yeah,
Uh,
the anabolic steroids usage, you
okay.
can get cancer from that. You could get liver cancer and testicular cancer, which like damages your hormonal imbalances, and that's what develops the cancer.
Uh, uh,
Yeah.
appreciate you into that. But I want to touch down on like coaches, right? We
Hmm.
see coaches want to do anything to win the game, right? Yeah, to win the game, right?
Yeah.
Uh, we see coaches might know these players take steroids, but to agree with Evan when he was saying, it's just beneficial for the coach, like it's beneficial for the doctor.
Hmm.
They just want to win, and the doctors just want the money, right? It's never going to be beneficial for the people that take steroids because it's always going to leave a long lasting issue or like heart issue to something, right? But
Uh huh.
yeah, I feel like it's always going to be beneficial just for the
Yeah,
doctors
but
and the coaches, right?
I see what you mean, but like that's not like I guess when we talk about our topic, I don't think that's yeah, yes, it's a valid point and it does make a lot of sense, but no matter what, if it's somebody that takes it, if for example, if it's like for example the coach, right? You say that he has a lot of he would be a state in this for example
Yeah.
um in this example that you give me, he would be a state. He has high power and high interest over it. Like his main interest is
Hmm.
to win by any means possible, and
Agreed.
he has the power of
Agreed.
that. He can either kick the person out or make him stay while knowing that he's under the use of drugs, using the drug under the usage of steroids, and he holds that power against most of the players that do take that, and he would keep them quiet too. Like they did. There's literally proof of that. Like coaches being fired because they allow it. They allow that drug usage and them being exposed. It's like there's nothing to
Yeah.
testify against that. Like you you know you're in the wrong ultimately. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Emma?
So for next time, since this is a perfect place to end it, because we're running low on time. But since you guys were talking about Johnny was talking about stakeholders, literally this is perfect for next time. I feel like we should talk specific. Everyone should choose one stakeholder, and we
Hmm.
should talk about that specific stakeholder. Either
Right.
whether it
Yes.
be
Exactly.
like what are some stakeholders you guys are saying? The
Uh,
people who own these companies, the
Yeah.
doctors, the
yeah.
coaches, and the
Supporters and
Influencers, everybody.
non-supporters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for supporters, non-supporters. So you guys can literally choose any of those one stakeholders and
Yeah.
do your research, find out about them. And I feel like we should go all in depth about that and what
Yeah.
exactly what are their benefits and what exactly they're getting from this and what are the downsides of this. How is this, yeah. But that's
Yeah.
the time. So we can sign out right now. It's been a good talk
Uh,
Yes.
and
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you
Johnny,
guys for the talk. Thank you for
Emma?
the talk.
Yeah, no problem,
no
my
talk.
boy.
All right, you in the recording?
Hold on.
Done it.
Don't say nothing.